Hi and welcome to the Creative Treehouse. My name is Robin Broom and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. I'm so glad you joined me in the Treehouse today. Today's project is one that features the Sunrise Sailing bundle, and it's really cool, and it's especially because it has a hybrid embossing folder. So we are going to make this today, and I will have all of the measurements and things on my blog, so I won't be going through those here, but this is our card base, and it is 4 1/4 by 11, scored here at 5 1/2. And then again, for 2 more times so that you can get the book binding. And to me, it was easier to go and at 4 and then flip the paper over and score it at 4 again. So I'm going to fold this back. So I think the book binding is just a neat, fun fold. So, okay, so that is our card base. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to use Very Vanilla, and I'm going to put down our mats. So you've got one here and one here, and there is a slight difference, so be sure that you put it on correctly, like that. It's just slightly longer, so let me get out my liquid glue. I'll glue this up, and then we will move right on to the embossing. Flowing better. Let's see if I got it to flow. Maybe, maybe not. We'll make it happen. Okay, so there's this piece, the side piece here. So if I remember, I think that is, I want to say it's 1 1/2. And so that is 1/8 of an inch smaller. Like I said, I'll put all of those measurements on my blog. Okay, so we've got the mats on there. So let's go ahead and move on to the embossing. And what I've done for the embossing is we're going to use the really cool embossing folder, and I've got a piece of the Lost Lagoon. If I didn't mention it, It's Pretty Peacock is the card base color, and this, I believe, measures 4 by 5, and at 1 1/4, I believe, is where you're going to actually cut it. But it looks better if you keep it in this whole format here, and then I'm going to line up the right edge with the line right there, like so. See if I'm kind of pressing it down so you can see the really cool embossing, and then we're gonna cut right there so that you will have, it's the same continuous pattern there. Let me grab my stamp cut and emboss machine. Okay, and get my sandwich correct as well. Get my base plate. And this is a 3D one, so it should be that we just put the base down. It's very wide as well, so you can do lots of things with it. And let's see if this is the correct sandwich, or if I need to add one more. Oh, I think it's the correct one. All right, just run that through. Okay. And move my plates out of the way. And there you can see it. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And while it's still all together, I am going to take a piece of scrap paper, and we are going to take our sponge dauber and our Lost Lagoon, and I'm going to kind of highlight the raised waves and the clouds there. You could also use a blending brush too, so I'm just going to kind of very lightly brush across. I have not tried doing adding ink to the embossing folder, but I feel like it would be a little bit too much. So I don't want to have angry clouds or whatever. So there, all right, and I'm going to go across real quick on the waves as well. And I think we could probably get just a little bit more color in there, even in between. Because usually the water is a lot darker than the sky. Okay. And that just helps to bring out the embossing. All right, so now we've got that part done. Let's put a little bit more in there. Okay, so let me put this away. And now what we're going to do is, I think we can go ahead and, yep, I think we can go ahead and cut this. I did score it there. I'm going to get my trimmer, and you don't have to score it. I just did. We're going to be doing this for a class, and so I think it is at 1 1/4. Yep, 1 1/4. This is where you want to cut, right there. And I think we can go ahead and put that. I don't believe I need this anymore. We can go ahead and add that to our card. Okay, so grab my glue again. Yay, it's flowing. Love the Tombow liquid glue, my favorite glue. Now you notice I didn't do anything with the sailboat, and that's because we're going to do something different with the sailboat itself. We didn't have to do the sponge dauber on the sailboat because we're going to cut the sailboat out in a minute. So here is a white piece that we're going to stamp on for our sailboat. Let me get all of our bits and pieces. Okay, so this is the sailboat, and we're going to make it in Pretty Peacock, same as our base, card base. I always find it's easier when you have a larger stamp to bring your ink pad to it. And some of you, especially you ones that are newer, probably don't realize sometimes I don't pull this whole thing off. This and this one is the name that you can put right there. They're stickers. And then this one is you can put it here so that when your stamp pad is open, you can see what color it is, because a lot of them look the same. And this helps to identify it. Okay, let's see. Put that on here. And okay, so there is the beginning of our sailboat, our outline, and the hull of the ship, I think that's what it's called, is going to be pecan pie. Let's see if I can get that on there, even, relatively even. Yeah, okay. And then the sails, I can't remember what color I used on the original. I'm trying to find a good color that would work with it. I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo. It may have been a slightly darker color that I used the first time. And this just goes in here. Let's see. How about right there? Yep. It might have been that color. All right. So now our sailboat is stamped, and now we are going to use the embossing folder again, but this time we're going to cut it out and emboss it at the same time. So you'll get to see what the hybrid embossing folder does. So let me slide that out of the way. So now we will definitely need a different set of, need to make a different sandwich. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna rethink it, because I don't remember. Let's see. We're gonna get let's try this. Let's get the embossing folder, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the die, and we're gonna lay the die in there, and it kind of just snaps in place, sort of. You can kind of feel it when it gets right into the groove there. Into the groove, okay. Let me get it in the groove. And once it's in the groove. I could have done it the other way. Let's see, hang on. And then let me line it up right in front of me and then I'll show you. Okay, I think we got it. All right, so the die is in here and we're gonna do, so it's going to emboss it and cut it all at the same time. Now the question is, do I have the correct sandwich going? Let's see. I do not. It needs to be just a wee bit thicker. Let's see if which way to go. Let's try this. All right. Let's see if that's too much or just right. Let's line it back up again. I think it's right. Seems a wee bit tight, but I think it's right. Okay. Wow! Okay. And it also helps to offset the plates, which I didn't do when I was running it through. Alright, and so now our sailboat is cut out. So that's what it does. It embosses and cuts. So that is what one of the purposes, functions, I guess, of the embossing folder. Pretty cool. And so I don't know if you can tell that if I flip it over, I think you can kind of tell that it is embossed. So our sailboat is ready to be adhered. So we will just adhere it flat. It's a little bit tricky to adhere it, only because most of it is concave right here. So there you go. All right. Look at that, it's really coming together. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is, on my original one, I did the little tiny ahoy, and it just looked better to cut around it. We had done this one on a live, was it last week or no, the week before, and on my YouTube live, and somebody suggested, because when it was just full, it looked too much. It was overbearing to the ship, so we fussy cut around the letters. But I wanted this time to try and see what would happen, because there are 2 clouds in this set. If we did like that and cut the cloud off and maybe put the other piece of it right there. What do you think? I think that may be what I'd like to try to do. So let me get my snips and see if I can cut it like so, and decide how high up we want it to be. We don't want it to be down too low, it'll look like fog. I think I'm gonna like that, and then we can put the other piece over here. Nope, we can't put it there because it needs a whole thing, or we could just leave it. Either way, or get a whole nother cloud. Okay, I'm gonna go with it because I think, and then we can compare and see which one you like better, which one you would prefer to make for your card. All right, and as I'm filming this, Father's Day is just a week away, so maybe this will give you some good ideas. All right, so we've got all of that. The only thing we're missing now are our birds, and let me show you these birds. They are very, very small, and so I used the liquid glue in a very thin bottle like this to put them on, but I thought, why not try the adhesive sheet? But I don't know, guys, they're so small, it's going to be difficult to get into it, I think. Let me see if I can, take your pick tool, if I can get that through. Oh yeah, look, oh, that wasn't bad at all. All right. Ah, good deal. So now I just have to decide where I want my birds. I think I'll put one there, right on top of one of the other birds. Okay, so far I would definitely recommend the adhesive sheet under there. Then you don't have to worry about your glue going everywhere. All right, and then down here, we could, let's see where the next guy needs to go. Could he go way over here and add something to this side? Maybe. Let's see if I can get him closer to the cloud. Sure, there. I think that'll work well. Okay, so pull the adhesive backing off of that. Ah, this is going so much better than I thought it would. Awesome. Okay, we'll lay it here. And that kind of brings both of those together. All right, and so the only other thing that we need to do is the string. And for string, I used the twine, and I used the beige one, which I'm not seeing at the moment. Where did it go? And well, while I'm looking for that, let me go ahead and do the inside of the card. So I'm going to use Lost Lagoon and the Berry Vanilla. And, oh, there goes my take your pick tools, coming back on the scene. All right, like so. I'm going to put it in the inside with the Lost Lagoon. So we're going to open it up. We're going to put it right here. And then what I thought would be cute, I always try to come up with something for the inside. I didn't used to do that, but that's a pretty good idea. They have, in part of the set, are these two little sailboat dies. And so they're like this. And so if you cut, so I cut one of these out of the Pretty Peacock, and then I cut this one out of the Lost Lagoon. And that gives you a place to glue the other sail to. And as you can see, I started to glue it. All right, I should have used my little glue. Okay, and I just put that in the corner. So when we made two versions, we made a blue version and this, I call this green, it's a teal color. But all right, so the string is the only thing that's missing, and I think I can do the string. I can go ahead and glue this down and then do the string, I believe. So we're just going to glue this closed, and that gives you the bookbinding, then the string, and then we're finished. So very cool. Oh, here's the string. I found it. All right. Let's go under here and get my other scissors. See if I did enough for a bow. And I don't have my reverse tweezers with me because that would also be a really good idea. All right, I don't want to get in the way of that bird. And speaking of birds, there's some bluebird babies in the backyard in the bluebird house, and Mom and Dad are feeding them. Super fun. And on the front porch, I've got a bird. It's in the one of the Boston ferns, and I had a mourning dove in the baker's rack, and oh my goodness, we've just had all kinds of birds and eggs and baby birds. It's been a fun spring. All right, let me trim off the ends, and we are done. Very cool. All right, that is the project. I can actually slide it a different direction if I want to. And you could put a glue dot there also to secure it. I think I need this other, that one might be a little bit too long. Let me trim just a little bit more of that one. All right, there we go. That is our card. I hope you like it. I hope you see that it's relatively easy to do, and it will make a great masculine birthday card, Father's Day card, all kinds of stuff. Even a retirement card. You can let your imagination go wild there. So that is it. I'm so glad you joined me in the Treehouse, and I hope that you will stop by again on Thursdays. I am live in the Treehouse at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. You can also, in the description of this video, you can find other ways to find me and inspiration on Pinterest and my blog, and like I said, all the measurements will be on my blog as well. So go check all those things out, and I look forward to seeing you again in the Treehouse. Thanks for joining me, and remember, I'm hoping that this week your hands will create and your heart will be blessed. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.